And I'm gonna live stream it.
Awesome.
Oh, it's not too surprising. It's looking like, I would say about a third of the parks have someone who definitely has been PM before.
Okay, so we are
And
live
then-
and we are streaming on Facebook.
Yeah.
Cool.
So I'm just gonna, Rose, not to preempt you or anything, but just kind of introduction.
Yep.
This is the second of the two meetings that we've had to reach out to PMs and kind of meet with them and see kind of a more in person if they have any questions about any specific aspects of the audit. And if you do, feel free to join the Zoom meeting. Excuse me, the Zoom link is posted. I'll keep my eyes open for you and let you into the meeting room. We are currently kind of going through and, looking at the PMs, and we had talked a little bit briefly about the BOD meeting out, reaching out to the PMs, excuse me, about any questions that they have on a one-on-one basis. This is going to be kind of more of a group chat, I guess, and hopefully some of the populace will join us. So go ahead, Rose. Thank you.
So I've just been looking through and seeing how many of the prime ministers have marked down on the org as being first timers. I would say it's looking like about maybe 1/3 of them have specifically notated that they've done prime minister before. But there are also several that have orders of the crown without anything listing what position they got orders of the crown for. So if they have, like 6 or 7 orders of the crown, they may have been prime ministers. It does at least look like most of the prime ministers, like I want to say 75%, have at least held other positions. So that probably helped a lot for knowing what to do a little bit. A couple of them have been on the board of directors, so that should help a lot. Especially Fix, yeah. He would know a lot of what to do. Of course, the other question is how updated is the org? Not every land knows to update the prime minister and other stuff.
You might also want to check the or not the org, but the wiki, because sometimes people post what they've offices they've been in there.
Yeah. But like I said, it looks like a good 1/3 to 2/3 have at least held prime minister positions a couple of times. And I only saw 1 or 2 people who were listed as prime ministers who didn't have any other positions. So I think that gives us an idea, at least a little bit, looking through.
And so maybe, when we do our BOD reach out, it might be a reasonable focus to go through this earlier and really see if we have someone who's experienced being prime minister reaching out to the people who it's their first time, or even if there's on a prime minister level some kind of class or meeting or something like that to train people and teach them.
It would be really nice if like a group were set up like is sometimes set up on Facebook for prime ministers, just in general. I know like a lot of times it's difficult to see the all thing like announcements if you don't follow the West March boards very carefully. So that could help with like that as well. But then like, it's not too bad if you have a land where there's a lot of people who've been prime minister and they're able to be like, hey, this is what you do, you know, but especially for the smaller shires where maybe, you know, nobody's really been prime minister before, especially coming off of COVID, where there's a lot of people who like moved and stuff. It'd be really nice for like them to have someone who could show the ropes or something. And if West March had that as a continuing thing, then any like directions and stuff could be available for the incoming prime ministers. I don't know if that's something that is done at all. I know like a few times they've had monarchy chats, and I think there was a monarchy group when I was monarch, but I'm not entirely
There's a
sure.
monarchy group. There was a monarchy chat. I think that when I was GMR, we had a GMR message thread because Discord wasn't a thing then. It might
Yeah.
even actually be a good idea to have because I know that Rourke's going to be doing a reaving class. You know, it might not be a bad idea at one of our kingdom travel events or conclaves to have some kind of an audit class. If and I don't know what the attendance would be, but you know, just to kind of go through all of that.
Specific class, but it'd be nice to have like a PM class where people are shown, you know, some stuff, even if it was low attendance, you know, still could be good. Focus on stuff like how to use the orc.
I think there's also still in the kingdom files on Facebook a page by page how-to that I wrote up a couple of years ago for how to actually do the audit. And I do get people that still reach out to me after finding that, and we review it and I answer the question. So there's a guide out there.
Yeah, there's also, I don't know if it's in the West March files, but I also made a video on going through the audit. I'll have to look and see.
It's on our YouTube right now.
Yeah.
Oh, it is?
Last I checked, yeah, fixed that it to
okay.
YouTube.
Cool.
Yeah.
So, and I don't know now, you know, it may be a little out of date because it was several years ago, but yeah. So basically there's resources available.
Yeah.
And with our current move for transparency and because CA Amtgard, I don't know, we haven't, I mean, I know we use it, but I don't know how many people use it. A lot of people now are using Discord. It might be good to focus on making that learning material and the resources available in some format on Discord. If that's the direction, you know, that we're going to go, because not everybody uses Facebook anymore.
It would be nice if there was a Discord room for like just prime ministers. Where like they could look at it and be like, hey, there's the West March prime minister one. And just have like prime minister related stuff in it. I don't know.
Kind of like a Facebook page, but on Discord.
Yeah. Well, the problem with the Facebook page is it's a lot harder to find files and stuff like that on Facebook, especially if you're new and don't know that there are such files, because Facebook doesn't really do data retention stuff well. Like it does and it doesn't, you know. It does have the capability, but it's not usually like apparent to people who don't know it's there. I often find people are surprised to learn that there is a files section in groups and they're like, I didn't even know that was a thing.
Like when you look up at the top and it says discussion, featured topics, media, files, and people?
Well, the thing is, it kind of depends on what you're looking at. If you're looking on a computer, all of those usually show up, but like
Oh,
I
right.
usually do my phone, so
Yeah.
I usually only see 2 to 3 of the things at the top. So often groups have files towards the end of the list. And like if you scroll at the top, you see it, but also a lot of people don't know to do that. But a lot of people access Facebook like only off of their phone or only off of their computer. A lot of people don't like doing both because they're so different.
Yeah.
So some features that are really easy to use on the phone are really annoying for people on the computer, and some features that are really easy on the computer are really annoying on your phone. Whereas like Discord, one of the things I like about it is it seems to be pretty much the same on the computer or on the phone, you know. Which means if you're good at Discord on your phone or your computer, you can usually like communicate where stuff is and stuff like that. Anywho, so we had also talked about doing things that would be good for PMs to know. I'd start that off by saying a lot of PMs don't realize how much marketing they can get credit for, because things that they regularly do, they don't think of as marketing. So like if
Like
you're
what?
doing, well, like if you're doing a weekly post about, having practice, but instead of a post, you make it an event that shows up on people's searches for events in their area. So it's a really easy, cost-effective way if you don't want to pay for actual ads on Facebook to still do a little bit of, Facebook marketing. Because people who might be in the area will look at what events are happening near them and they can still see it. But a lot of people, they think of that as I'm informing my park mates that we're having practice at this location. So they might not realize that that is, advertising. And if you have it set up to post in multiple locations, like we have our Facebook page, which we honestly don't utilize as much as we should, connected to our Twitter. So that's 2 marketing spots in one go. Of course, Twitter doesn't like Facebook anymore, so it's not as useful as it used to be. But there's that. I'd recommend to any PMs who are thinking, oh, what I have to do to show that I have marketing. They're probably doing more than they think they are just by posting regularly and stuff like that. If they're getting numbers out.
Yeah.
I'd also say utilizing org features. A lot of people don't realize that there are reports on the org, and the reports can be very useful for doing your attendance and stuff like that. There's also the calculator that Dave Zucker posted that isn't his, but is somebody else's. So if they can find the post where he did that, which I believe I shared to my people, but actually I'll probably go find that again and do a general post on it, because that would be a good thing for them to have.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because that really helps, because average attendance you can get just off of the normal AmGuard reports, but the unique attendance isn't as wide range of a criteria across lands, so they haven't done a unique attendance report.
Uh-huh. Well, isn't there's a unique calculator, right? That you can
Yes,
use
that's
for
the thing
audits?
I was saying, but that's just something someone made. It's not on the org. So I'll find where Dave posted that and hit that up a little bit more, because that's super helpful. Otherwise, you have to go for everything and like count people individually, which even if you have like physical sign-in sheets to do it, it's really easy to get that count wrong. What do you think, Andy? What's something that you would give as advice to a new prime minister?
I mean, honestly, just work on the audit and get it done beforehand.
Hmm.
I am guilty as anybody of being a procrastinator. And there have been times when I submitted an audit at 11:45 at night on the last day.
11:59:59.
Well, I gave myself a few minutes.
Okay. 11:55:59.
There have been plenty of times that I did that, but it's a terrible idea.
Hmm.
It's kind of like anything else. It's you procrastinate, you pay the price.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, getting it all done beforehand means that you can find where you have errors and take care of them for a week.
Yeah. That is something I would also say to the prime ministers. Sorry. Like, it's a good idea to use the time of going over your land information for the org to catch any like small errors that you do have and stuff.
Do you think that prime ministers and people in general consider audits a priority and something that's important?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's a big part of their job. I usually tell my incoming prime ministers when I'm switching off to start working on the audit pretty much immediately. Like, you have to finalize it the last few days, but you have to start it basically as soon as you take over, calculating, votes and stuff like that.
You're breaking up, Rose. I don't think anybody can hear you.
One second, I'm gonna go further away because I think he might be mixing with Andy. Okay, is that better?
A little bit.
Oh, let's see. I am on Wi-Fi. Maybe if I jump off Wi-Fi, it'll be.
I think it might be how you're holding the phone. Like when you look away from it, it stops picking you up.
Hello?
I'm still
There.
here.
Okay. I tried going off Wi-Fi and it bugged out for a minute because it was being weird before.
You sound better now, though.
Okay, cool. So like what I was saying was I tell my prime ministers when I'm switching off to like start stuff basically like immediately, to like take a look at the audit and start thinking about what they have to compile in order to get it done. Because like if you wait till the last minute, then it's a lot of difficult stuff to compile.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I usually remind them, and if I'm prime minister, start really focusing on it around quals, because half of the stuff you have to fill out is for quals.
Yeah, and then there's the all thing item about the quals and the changes to quals, but that's not gonna take effect for this audit period. So
Yeah.
as far as this audit period goes, it still is gonna go by this current version of the corpora.
Well, and that didn't pass anyways, did it?
No, it didn't,
No.
but there were just some ideas about changing it, so for
Hmm.
this audit period, that doesn't take effect, just so people know. So they still need to go on CA AMCARD, find the audit package for their land level and, you know, fill everything out. So there's, you know,
Yeah.
the average monthly uniques, there's the ledger, but then there's also, which is important because lands have failed before for not holding quals, you know, and that's been an item. Well, did you hold quals and nobody showed up, or did you say nobody showed up, so we didn't hold quals? You have to hold quals. That still is a requirement. Whether nobody showed up, that's not quite a moot point, but you still have to post that you did hold quals.
Yeah.
And I think that the outline, the audit package on CA AMCARD for whatever level of land you have is a really useful outline, and you just go through it and you fill it out and you put information in for each part. You can't just say, oh, well, we didn't hold quals, because if you didn't hold quals and your land requires that you hold quals, then there's one tick against you, and you get one tick against you for a pass and you get 2 ticks against you for a fail.
Yeah. One thing to bear in mind is I think we have a majority of shires right now, though, don't we?
We do, and I think that was from COVID. Kind of one of my ideas was to hold everybody to a shire level as far as audits go, coming back out of COVID,
Yeah.
to see how that goes now, because we've been meeting in person and we've been traveling and we held quals, and you know, this last rain, you held quals were held, and it should be in these audit packages.
Yeah. Just, it's gonna mean that the requirement is gonna be a lot lower this time around because there's so many shires, as they are not
No,
required.
if you're a shire, then your quals requirements are this. If your land level is stated as a barony or a duchy, then it's gonna be different. It's not all the lands are gonna be graded as if they were a shire.
Yeah.
But a lot of lands did drop down in their land level because of, I think, primarily attendance.
I mean, the ones that I saw that dropped, it was a whole slew of things, not just attendance, but attendance certainly doesn't help when you don't have a lot of management, though. It makes having a higher status extremely difficult.
So if you can't have the officers that you need for that land level.
Well, not even necessarily that, but like, if you don't have anyone who wants to run for half of your positions, then the officers that are performing the jobs are having to do the other people who would normally be there's work as well. And that makes it, you know, very hard to keep up.
Yeah.
And I mean, the major benefit to having a higher land status is you give higher awards, but the negative is you have to do a lot more bureaucratic work.
Agreed. I'm just kind of looking here and I don't know that I see any questions on either the event that we posted or on the Facebook page or the announcement of the meeting tonight. Did anybody have anything else any words of wisdom or things that are important in what we're going to be looking forward for audits? And I think I said this last meeting, the first and last. It's really audits are really important on judging the health of the land and the health of West March being a nonprofit organization. You know, we need to keep track of financials and we need to keep track of the health of the kingdom. And it also helps us see where we're getting weaker, where we're getting stronger. You know, how can we make West March thrive as a community? So it may seem like tedious work, but it's really important in being a community of West March.
Well said.
Okay, my cheerleading is done.
All right, I think we're about ready to call it. Does anyone else have anything?
Negative.
Awesome. Thank you all for joining. A special thank you to Jody for putting together the Zoom call and for running tonight's Q&A. Thank you all for joining, Scoot and Rose. I'll talk to you guys soon.
Okay, and I
Bye-bye.
will, when this is done recording, or not recording, but recording on my computer, I will post the recording on Facebook, and then I'll also put it in Discord and see if I can put it in CAM Third as well. So thanks everybody for being here. I appreciate you.
Thanks. Good night.
Good night.
Bye-bye.
Bye.